Hey guy, what's up? It's Joe. Morning coffee. Cheers. Yeah, boom. Happy dog. Pet, 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 pet. What's up guys? Joe. Another video for you. Let's get to the show here. All right, now I got 3 clips here. I got some B-roll, some footage here from Paul's recent projects, and I just want to bring up a few things. If you get footage, and let's just say in this situation, right, it looks pretty dark, right? There's no information here. It's pretty dark here. You got a good bright area here. How I started color correcting was using curves all the damn time. So say if like it was too dark, I'll go in the mids and I'll boost it up like this, right? Just like boom. All right, cool. Then you're like, oh, then maybe you want to crank down the shadows to create contrast, and now it looks dark, and or I don't know. Then but this creates a highlight, so you bring this down now. But now it just, I mean, yeah, it could work, but there's an easier way to do things, in my opinion, right? And that's how I work. I try to find ways to get things done in a simple manner. The thing with using the curves, I feel that it could drastically increase the image quality in ways that you don't intend to, right? Say in this case, you got an arch, so now like the highlight area is getting increased, right? Same thing with like the shadow area, that's being increased, right? I try not to like destroy the footage that much. If anything, when I use the curves, I try to use it in a very subtle manner, right? If anything, I don't use these guys that much. Premiere Pro has lumetri. I use that mostly throughout the whole video because it works well, once you get used to this, right? But whatever editing software you're using, I'm pretty sure you can apply this to your workflow, right? So now, as always, when you're doing color correcting is when you're adjusting the image before you do like the final color grade. Color grade is the stuff you add towards the end of the video to make it look pretty. That's, you increase the contrast, you boost the saturation and all that shit. That's what color grading is. Color correcting is what I'm doing now. I feel like it's too dark, so I'm gonna color correct it and adjust like the image quality for like the final color adjustment, which is color grading, right? Since I'm doing color correcting, I'm gonna go to that master. Now here in the master, using lumetri, now you can see here, there's a lot of information down here towards the shadow area. So what I want to do is I want to basically boost everything up, right? But as I showed you, if I was just to get the exposure tool here and increase it, then see over here, the screen gets blown out, you lose information, right? Something that I do is basically I use the contrast. When you increase the contrast, all you're doing is you're separating the highlights from the shadow. So the mix section here gets split up, right? And it creates more division between the bright and the darks. So that's why it creates contrast, right? So what's black turns darker and what's white becomes brighter. So in this case, what I want to do is basically I want to boost the shadow area. So what you can do is actually drop the contrast, right? And that will boost your shadows in a more even, consistent manner without damaging the footage that much. So by doing this, check this out. I'm going to drop the contrast. I went all the way towards the end, but as you can see, I boosted up the shadow area, even like the computer part. See how it's all dark here? By me dropping the contrast, more information appears, right? And also I'm able to retain the information that's on the screen, right? So that's the kind of cool thing about using contrast to brighten your image a bit, right? So I'm gonna just find an area that I like, say like right there, that looks good. Now, because in this case, I have a highlight here. As you can see here, this white area, that's the screen. So there's really no need for me to boost up the exposure level because all I'm doing is I'm just smashing more information on the screen. So it's going to get washed out. You can't see, see the text, right? So I want to retain that. So in this case, what I can do is like, I can go to the shadows. Same thing. I can just increase the shadows now. And that looks a lot better, right? And like I said, I'm still retaining the information that's on the screen, right? So we see the difference from that. It's very dark. By reducing the contrast first, then increasing the shadows, I was able to brighten up the image, right? Then from here, I could do, what I need to do. If I need to add some more red or more warmth to like the footage, I can do all that. Whatever I need to do, right? But I already boosted the image, so it looks more lively, right? Instead of being all dark like that, right? So yeah. So there's one example how contrast can help you. Here's another example. All right, so he's holding the CPU close to his hand, right? I mean, it looks fine. We can do a little bit better. Now, again, select the clip. We're going to the master section of it to do our adjustments. I want to boost this up. So again, I just go to the contrast slider. I drop this down. And as you can see what happens when I'm doing that, there's actually a good example right here. Notice how everything gets squished down, right? That separation of like bright and dark, it gets squished down to a more consistent level of colors, right? It gets like smooshed out and boom. So by doing this is the original footage. You know, there's a lot of contrast between, say, like his thumbs and his fingers, right? So by reducing the contrast, everything gets a little bit more even, right? So like whatever is dark, it gets kind of like brightened up. Whatever was bright, again, it gets reduced a bit. So now because everything is a bit more smooshed, because all the color got squashed a bit, I'm able to increase the exposure a bit, and that increases everything as a whole, right? So as you can see here in the color information, when I increase the exposure level, everything gets boosted up a bit, a little bit more evenly. Now, if you feel like, you know, you want to retain some contrast, you know, you could just go to your shadows. You can reduce that a bit down. It's just, you have more control now of what you want to do. And yeah, there you go. So see, this is the fingers. You can see all the contrast, you know, it's pretty dark. And now like that brightens everything up a bit, right? And you know, of course, you know, you can add more color information, like maybe add some warmth or whatever. But what I'm showing you is how I'm using the contrast controls to brighten up an image. Now, this is my final example, which is, you know, this is B-roll. He reduces like the amount of light going into the camera. That way we can see the RGB colors going on inside of this computer build, right? But as you can see, it's still a little too dark, right? It's kind of like hard to make out what's going on. Again, selecting the clip, going to the master. I'm going to start again using the contrast. I'm going to reduce it down. And look at that. See how dark it is here? And by reducing the contrast, boom. Actually, that's kind of cool. You know, see in this area right here, how completely dark it is? And by me reducing the contrast. So I'm going to just increase the contrast because I still want it to be a little dark. There you go. And now, like, once I do this, then I do the rest, right? Which in this case, if I want to boost up the shadows a bit, I can do that a little bit right there. But see, now I boosted up the image quality a little bit from that, which was totally dark, and you know, there's not much color information going on because it's completely too dark. By reducing the contrast, boom, you can see some more color information going on. But using this method, using a contrast filter, even if you do not have lumetric colors, if you use the contrast filter in your editing software, you're reducing the highlights and you're reducing the shadows, right? So it's more consistent, right? And then from there, it gives you a good start for you to like adjust your highlights and your shadows from there by reducing the contrast, right? So that's something I do when I'm dealing with footage that's too dark, right? So yeah, that's basically it. If you find the video helpful, definitely leave a question, a comment, leave a like and all that stuff. And also right here, there'll be some information. You know, there'll be a link in the descriptions if for my PayPal, if you guys want to hook it up with a coffee. You know, if you find the video helpful. And coffee is always appreciated. Either way, I'm going to continue making this video. So if you're able to, I appreciate it. If you don't, it's cool. Just give me a like and a thank you. Obviously, but you guys asking me questions or sharing your work with me, you know, I kind of do get ideas to make more videos, right? If you guys are having a situation with your videos, or if you want to learn something, or if there's something specific you guys want to learn, whatever it may be, just like give me a question in the comment section, and like I'll look into it, right? Whatever your situation may be, you know, someone else may be, you know, going through that same situation. So if I'm able to help you, then obviously I'm helping someone else, right? So your questions are helpful in every way possible, right?